Part two of last week's episode with guest Rino, I get interviewed. That's right, the tables are turned and he is asking me the cues. Find out who was my mentor, how I could have been on Survivor, and catch my very own saucy secret that will give you a good laugh. It's time to get nourished. Hello, and welcome to the Nourished Life podcast. I'm your host, Ange. This is your go-to spot for all things wellness, mind, body, and soul. We're talking feel-good routines, honest conversations, and guests who will inspire you to live fully and feel your best. And get ready to hear some saucy secrets at the end of each episode. It's time to get nourished. Let's dive in. All right, I'm back with Rino this week, and the tables are turned, and he is going to interview me. So, without further ado, let's rock this.
Well, hello, Angela, again, and welcome to the Reno show.
Yes, exactly. Should I be afraid?
Well, I mean,
Maybe.
We'll see how it goes.
Maybe I should add more deodorant. I'm sweating.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess my job here would be to make you sweat a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be too easy breathing.
Alrighty.
So I thought a lot about different things to ask you about. We've come to know each other for 5 years now, and we've certainly talked extensively about our lives. And so I'm hoping to reveal some things to your audience that maybe they haven't known about you or heard about you. I'm sure if you're hosting a show that, it doesn't always become something about you. It's more about who you're talking to. So
Yep.
Let me start by saying, what is something about you that might surprise your listening audience?
Oh. I was an introvert.
Okay.
Yeah. I maybe I had the extrovert within myself, but environmentally growing up very introverted, and it held me back from sports. I was afraid like I'm going to be embarrassed. Like I did not like, that was stressful. And my PE teacher would ask me, "Hey, we need people for basketball. Will you come, and try out? Or we need women for softball."
Yeah.
And I was so afraid. I even was in gymnastics and wanted to try out for the cheer team and missed the tryouts because I just decided I didn't want to do it. I was too shy.
When did it shift for you?
I
mean, if it shifted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it has. It shifted when I started at beauty school, actually, and I had to use my voice to go, here I have a ticket in my hand of the client I'm supposed to call out their name in a sea of people, which the sea is like 10 waiting to be be called. And and then it's like you say their name, you're like Pam, and no one can hear me, and I had to say it louder. And eventually that was my first space where I was using my voice, and it became easier. And then on into Starbucks, when you want me to call the drinks out? You want me to say like an iced venti non-fat vanilla latte like out loud in this sea of 5 people waiting for the drink? And that's when I began to use my voice, and it felt comfortable. And then I just throughout life found more opportunities to step out into the extrovert that I really probably was.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I feel like I was an introvert also when I was younger. Certainly through most of my years in high school. When I got into the work world, people kept pushing me out there, and it was kind of like a forced thing to you saying, you got to do this and you got to do that. You adapt. I have found in listening, I haven't listened to all of your podcasts, but I've listened to some of them, And I find that your podcast is quite serious in nature. And what I know of you, you can be quite the joker.
Yeah.
I think you reveal more of your goofy side. I think the world is ready for it. And I'm thinking, like, what about a new segment like prank calls?
Yeah, I know. I know. And you did highlight that observation. And I'm like, you're right. And that was at the tail end of me sensing a shift because I found I wasn't really being myself. And you observed that, which held true to what I was feeling, to be more silly, even if there are serious moments in a podcast, like there can be opportunities to show a little bit more of my goofiness and silliness.
Yeah, I mean, we were together yesterday at one of Chicago's biggest venues, the second city where they do improv comedy, and we got we got some we got some kicks out of there, and I guess what you're saying. You have a serious nature to your podcast, but like life can be really serious and tough and brutal sometimes. And we both, I think, commented at some point that what a good medicine laughter is.
Yeah. No, it really is. And I try to, when life happens and it's like, yeah, of course this would happen to me, that's those random things you're like, of course, and then you laugh it off and you find, to me, I just try to find the joy in stuff and being silly. And I grew up with a stepmom who did a lot of what ifs. So those are the funny what if scenarios that, like, the pranking, like you were saying, like if we just went up and what were we saying with the gal taking orders at the in the improv, if I just went down there and just said, okay, is there anything else I can get for you, and I'm like not even in uniform. I mean, that's the silliest parts of me that
well, I think you should say something funny now because I think that would be perfect.
Perfect, yes. Yeah, because our waitress said it all the time. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
A lot of things that were perfect. Yes.
And then we get into taking the elevator up to the third parking garage, and we overhear this couple saying, "That's perfect." It was just meant to be.
It was the theme of the day.
Yeah, it really was.
So I'm going to jump around because I'm trying to figure out how to get some things that help reveal about you. Did you have a mentor growing up?
No, I didn't. Which I had a lot of people in my life, but looking back, I didn't have anyone that I think I could have been open enough to help me be mentored, which is why I have a passion now to mentor others in that age bracket, because I didn't have one.
Yeah.
So, but I had a lot of people later when I shouldn't say
teachers, good coaches, anyone that
no, because no, it wasn't until when I finally got into my now that we're chatting and going further down. So youth, no, teen years, no, through my early 20s, it was probably not until I got into a salon and started building a clientele did I have a woman by the name of Dee, who is very much a friend of mine, but yet in the age bracket of my mom. But she mentored me unknowingly.
Okay. Yeah.
I look at her and I think, okay, she was a boy mom. So we would have conversations, and her son is not far off of my age, but pulling those fun conversations throughout the years and applying them to parenting or applying them to developing myself or approaches on different things. She always believed in me. So I would say that that mentor type relationship came later.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, because I don't have that type of relationship with my mom, but I could still find it in other women that could be an area where I could learn from or grow from or see me who I am. This episode of the Nourish Life podcast is brought to you by Cozy Earth, one of my absolute favorite brands for comfort, quality, and conscious living. If you're ready to upgrade your sleep and self-care game, you have to try their bamboo sheets and ultra soft loungewear. They're breathable, temperature regulating, and made from sustainable materials. Seriously, it's like wrapping yourself in a hug. I've been living in their all-day tea. Perfect for slow mornings, cozy evenings, or just feeling good throughout the day. And here's the best part. You can get 40% off with the code LIFE when you check out. That's right, 40% off of your new favorite cozy essentials. So treat yourself, you deserve it. Head to cozyearth.com and use the code LIFE at checkout. Coming out of the fish house. Well, it was like a fish house where they would clean the fish or whatever, and then somehow there was like a pipe coming out into the water, and the dead ones were coming out into the water. And so I'm like, okay, well, there's my bait. And then I see off of this shack the broken hooks and line just hanging there. So I ran up to the cabin and I knew we had yarn because we were doing crafts. So I grabbed some yarn and took that, found a long stick, attached the yarn to the stick, and then the fishing line that had been broken off with the hook on it to the end of the yarn. And then I was not going to touch the minnow. So I just kind of poked it enough through to the hook and went to the end of the dock, and I caught 2 fish. And we ended up eating them for dinner. So
That's awesome.
it was just,
Well, that's like a strange sense of accomplishment as a young person. Like you really figured out how to get it done.
Yeah. And that, I think, is a representation of my personality, where I don't let my mind say I can't do something. I created possibility. And I think that goes with finishing 4 Tough Mudders, which I was telling you about, which are 13 miles of running with 22 obstacles. And they call it like a military intensity at times. And then I think the biggest accomplishment that has been the most fearful, that ties to my extrovert growth opportunity to step into that, is when I've been able to speak confidently in front of 50 to 60 people, and I don't get the hot flashes and embarrassment and lose track of what I'm saying. So I think that's an adulting accomplishment on the whole other side of age.
I'm still not good at that. I've been teaching for a long time. I'm pretty good under smaller groups, but when I see a whole audience, and I've done a few things in front of a whole audience, but I do get kind of stage fright. So,
well, I have a personal goal at first it was 100, and then I saw that 100 didn't seem like a lot. Like first it was 30, I found small numbers. And so I think now my goal would be 1,000. I don't know how I'll land that. I know I will land that one day, that I will speak in front of an audience that large. So I'm excited whenever that comes to fruition, but I imagine I picture that for myself.
I'll be looking for you in some TED Talks.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, your podcast deals with health and nourishment and those kinds of topics. At what point in your life did physical and mental health become a focus for you?
Good question. I would say the awareness came during I would call it the freshman 15, even though I never went to college. It still occurred between high school and when I started beauty school that summer, I had put on some weight. And I knew it didn't feel great on my body.
So you were all the way up to 105.
No, I was probably
You
a
don't have to say
no, I
it.
will say it. I have no problem. It could have been even 20 pounds I put on in a short time, which was shocking. But I would say I went from like 115 to 20, somewhere in there, up to probably 135. And that had no muscle. It just was weight. And I remember thinking, this feels not good. And I was walking up the stairs at beauty school and I thought,
So you're
I got
literally
it
how old at this point?
like
20?
18.
18?
hmm And I thought, I have to, this doesn't feel good. I have to do something about it. So that's when I started being mindful with food consumption and just what was I eating and shifting my choices to, I would say probably 80-20 rule and not knowing it was 80-20, but I just that was the start of the food shift. I didn't have to worry about the activity because I had dropped and I was about 115. So I didn't worry about activity. And so, yeah, that was really the start of the awareness. The mind, I've honestly been in therapy on and off throughout, going through marriage stuff, into post marriage, into childhood healing. So that's kind of been sprinkled throughout. But where I am today is refueling and recharging with just me time, not necessarily into a therapist space, but like, how do I refuel my mind and slow it down? Cause I'm like always busy in my brain. So
I certainly relate to that point.
it must be our creative spirits.
I think that has something to do with it. With your story of catching fish with something that you fabricated, and we had a little bit of this conversation yesterday.
Fabricated, not as an exaggerated, but developed.
No, fabricated it as in created.
Yeah, created. Yeah, not like the fabricated story.
So based off of that and the conversation we had yesterday,
Mhm.
I think you might be a good candidate for Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, I'm going to do a little Survivor game with you right now.
Oh.
This is going to be called Fast Food Survivor.
Okay.
So,
well, hold on. Let's just let them know that we talked about different reality shows,
yes,
and that Survivor being one of them.
yeah, one of your favorites.
Yeah.
And then the fishing story told me more about how you might do.
Yeah.
So this is my quickie little game called Fast Food Survivor. You're on the road. You're very hungry.
Okay.
You pull into a roadside stop where your food choices are Popeye's chicken,
Okay.
Little Caesars, McDonald's, and Taco Bell. What do you do? How do you feed yourself?
Oh, I'd probably do McDonald's because they do have like fruit cups available.
McDonald's fruit cups.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there. And I am going to try to focus in a little bit on all this sort of health aspect of your podcast. I know you do a lot of running, and I know that some of that's changed over the years, but has it had impact on your joints, knees, ankles? Do you worry about running and how it will affect your future?
100%. I took a whole 9 months off of running, because it was extremely impactful on my body. Not just
running on hard pavement most of
through last year. Yes. So, backtrack in like 14-ish. I did 9 half marathons and then took a big break, felt the impact on my knees at that point, and then revisited running as just a little sprinkle in 2019. So I have it a part of my life, but it has not ever been a major focus since the half marathon days due to the physical
So do you
impact.
substitute something in for that?
Yeah, so weight training, I'll do in really even accepting the slowing down to yoga or mobility as an actual workout instead of just the stretching, because I'm recognizing the impact on my body. I have picked up running, but I am doing it in a limited space for the next 13 weeks. So, being here in Chicago, the humidity has cranked a bit and my knees were not having it the first morning I was here and running. And I did a run walk, but yeah, it's something pavement I do, but thankfully I have a treadmill at home and I
You just said
do. Did you catch that, people? Which happens to runners sometimes, you know. But yeah, so I currently am in a part of a 13-week training program. I'm one of the coaches. So this season there is a bit more running involved, but I'm doing it in a space that is actually not going to tear down my body and push my thyroid into another area, which I got some issues at the beginning of the year because of all the running was doing the previous in 2024. And it was just a reminder like, okay, I have to listen to my body and, humble. I mean, it's humbling
it
because
certainly is. Yeah.
in our last week's podcast, we talked about adapting, and that is something that I've had to do, and it's not been easy. It's been disappointing and discouraging, but then when I've found wins out in other areas, I'm reminded that I'm still moving and being active.
Well, yeah. I mean, I did because I was limited in some of my activities this summer. I turned some of my moving into towards swimming because swimming is obviously very low impact, but still get a chance to work on a lot of the muscles.
That one, swimming wears me out. That is a whole different cardiovascular space.
When I wasn't playing volleyball for a while and felt
Hmm.
like I had some limitations, that's what I turned towards, and it helped
Yeah.
have that. Is there anyone you look up to when it comes to overall health? I mean, besides
Yes. Well, obviously, I was gonna say Reno. Well, you are 100% one of them because I have, being in the hair industry and been in for 25 years, I have clients that I've known for 20 years, which means they're in their 60s now and even 70s. And I see a very sedentary life with some of them. And that makes me sad because they don't have to, but they choose to, right? And so with people like you, with people like my friend Joanne, who is 65 this year, she was in the 1976 Montreal Olympics for swimming, and she still leads an active life. And that is the people that I choose to surround myself with intentionally because I want to be that.
Well, yeah, I do think it's always good to have some people who give you a look into the future because
Hmm.
we all keep going in one direction,
Yeah.
just getting older.
Yeah.
Um, This sort of relates to what you're just talking about. Many of us have friends and family members, people close to us that don't have very healthy habits.
Hmm.
What, if anything, are you able to do to influence them, and do you try?
Um, yeah, I do try. I think um I'm not a salesperson, so I'm cautious to offer my nutritional knowledge all the time or workout knowledge, but I find opportunities to encourage them. And when someone asks me a question, I love it because I'm happy to give away my free knowledge. No, I do charge for macro and fitness plans, but at the end of the day, my goal is not to make money. It's really to give someone a possibility in a space that maybe they're challenged with, or they don't think they can. If they love candy and they're just like, I just have the sugar craving all the time, I try to encourage them. It isn't all about all or nothing. you know Treat yourself, but in balance. Like,
Yeah.
I think trying to teach that you don't have to say no to everything.
Yeah, and I think I've seen that theme carried out a little bit in your podcast, that I was talking about people close to you, but you're
Mhm.
also influencing people who happen to listen to this. And,
Mhm.
I think that's admirable. And hopefully people grab onto something along the way that will give them a little bit healthier life.
Yeah, and one of the things on the fitness piece, because you know, you and I, we're down, we play. There's no um, we're not we like that piece, the active, the movements.
Yep.
Not everybody does. And so I've had people, well, what's your workout? What do you do? And it's like, well, I can tell you my workout, but that may not make you motivated. So the goal is not to learn what I do, it is to find what you like and
Sure.
move,
Sure.
right? You can join me on a
Some
workout.
self-discovery.
Yeah. Cuz at the end of the day, I just want to see people moving. And is that a walk? A walk to four of your favorite songs because you're finally moving? Like, um I don't know, I just am passionate about creating possibility when people feel like they can't.
As you know, I'm a bit of a foodie.
Really? Mr. Italian?
And I think there are a lot of concerns about our food supplies.
Mhm.
Americans eat larger portions, more processed foods,
Mhm.
additives, whereas somewhere like Europeans' diets are simpler. They outlaw chemicals and hormones and things
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
we don't safeguard so much in this country.
The ingredient lists are minimal.
Yeah. And, one of my keys to longevity or good health has been having probably been raised in more of a European fashion as far as food. We never
Mhm.
had anything out of the box.
Mhm.
We used fresh garden,
Yeah.
and till this day, as you know, I still have my own organic garden,
Mhm.
making salads and tomato sauce and things out of there. But my question is, what are your thoughts about the American way versus
The European.
European
Yeah.
or other
Mhm.
societies that have a kind of a healthier approach?
I want to move.
To where?
Well, I experienced Athens in Greece, or Athens in Italy. Um, and I mean, I love Greek food, like top favorite type of food. But I could tell that I felt better after every meal. So I wanted to bring that back. in my approach to cooking. Like, not clearing out everything in my pantry and refrigerator, but just like the next time I have to purchase something, I want to do it just a little bit cleaner and start really doing my best to clean it up and
Even
what I
that,
can control.
even that can be hard. Like even going and purchasing things at the grocery store,
Hmm.
and you know, some things are labeled organic, some things are not labeled.
Well, and I found on the organic thing, it does, as long as there was one ingredient or two that are organic, they can call it organic.
Yeah,
So you really have to look at the
a
labels.
lot of deception.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, it's just trying to slowly learn of what I'm consuming and doing my best. But I also like things, I do enjoy some Biscoff cookies at night, and they're not clean ingredients if I'm going to be picky.
Well, and another question I have that relates is that I know you to be a big coffee drinker,
Mhm.
and um, you know, studies will show that coffee has certain benefits, and
Mhm.
it also has certain things that aren't so great, like long-term effects like osteoporosis.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are your thoughts since you love your coffee?
Um I believe in balance, and so for me, I have one a day. I'm not like several cups a day of coffee. I truly just stick to the one, and um but I also want to enjoy life, and if that's my vice, then I don't want to not have it. What I've done to make it better with how I'm consuming it is I'm no longer doing the sugar free syrups. I'm doing raw sugar or I'm doing brown sugar. So I do feel like I've made it healthier as a whole. And then my 1 cup a day rule. I actually don't even crave more than that. I mean, I do have espresso. It's 2 shots of espresso.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I do think balance is important, and I do think that we all have certain weaknesses when it comes to something that we really enjoy.
yeah.
And so, I don't have a whole lot more questions. I have uh, one that I was going to say, which you're here in Chicago and you're out of some of the heat of Arizona, uh, but living in Arizona, the extreme summer heat,
Mhm.
how does that affect your routine of being active?
Oh, you know, I haven't really had to adjust it until probably the last year and a half. I overheat really quickly. I've had some overheating episodes that have left me very sick. And speaking with a firefighter recently who um, asked me my age,
Is
and
he on the calendar?
was he on the calendar?
Environment calendar?
No. Love that. But no. But yeah, he asked my age and then he said, "Yeah, that the sensitivity is probably because you're going through perimenopause, which has a side effect of the inability to regulate your body temperature in a normal way." So I'm like, "Well, that makes sense."
Do you think you'll be going to your fireman for menopause
No, but
checkups?
nope, no, I will stick to my naturopath.
It's just
Um,
funny that you're hearing about that
um,
from your firefighter.
because he goes to all of the scenes of
I mean,
when.
I'm sure it makes sense.
No, no, but he usually ends up on the scenes. He's one of the major reporters for the firefighter department, so he goes to the scenes where people have overheated on the mountain and hikers and all that. So um, I leaned into his knowledge there because I didn't know what was going on with me and why all of a sudden I'm overheating. Even in my garage gym at 5 a.m., I've had moments where I start to get dizzy, and so it's frustrating, Reno. It's like I don't know if next year I'm gonna get a gym membership for a few months because I don't want there's alternatives to keep my momentum going. But it has been like an adjustment because I will get very flushed and red and I start sweating a ton and I feel nauseous and it comes so fast. But I never used to have that.
Yeah, well, the hormonal changes do it over periods of time. We reach certain things that change our physiology.
I think that's why I'm also having a smidge of a hard time aging because when that question was asked, my age, and then there is a answer that could be connected to it, it just is another humbling experience.
Well, aging is not for the faint of
Hard.
heart or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm about done. I guess since we're wrapping it up here in Chicago, I would like to say, do you have a highlight of your time here in Chicago?
This go round or
Yeah,
all?
this go
Okay.
round.
Yeah.
Or you could say any go round.
Yeah. Honestly, my I think the highlight has been the Cubs game because we traditionally have done the Bears,
Yeah.
and that was a new experience. Even though I was overheating,
It was quite hot.
no, it was just neat. It was neat to be in a city with other fans and seeing the camaraderie in that space and just I think Chicago with all of the big name teams, there is a different energy. Like
it's a big sports town. No question about that.
yeah, so that's been a highlight. And then also probably just our impromptu goofy moments. In our I am gonna flip this because I forgot to ask you in last week's episode. Your saucy secret.
Saucy Secret.
Yes. So it's an embarrassing moment. It's something. And then I mean it is your show, so you're more than welcome to offer that same question back. But like, yeah, what's your saucy secret that an embarrassing moment, something random?
My dog barking.
Vodka.
Oh, oh, well, it's an embarrassing moment looking back many years on it. And my kids love hearing this story, but it's I mean, it's embarrassing in a moment of being a very inexperienced child. So when I was in about sixth grade, I was my assignment was to do I think it was a lesson about the Revolutionary War or something, and me and a partner were supposed to do a special project. You could figure out what you wanted to do, and what we wanted to do was draw a bunch of pictures to show, and then do PJ. Stop.
Come here, PJ.
Come here.
That's all right.
We were we were going to do a recording that went with the pictures. So the teacher allowed us to go into the teacher's lounge where no one else was and work on this project. And I had brought into the school a small old-time reel-to-reel tape recorder that was my mom's. Small reels about the size, smaller than a CD. And we were going to record on it. Well, we had everything planned out. We had the scripts written. Went in the room, recorder wasn't working. So my friend Don and I looked at the recorder, and we, in our youthful naivete, decided that the recorder wasn't produced right in the factory, and that the little rubber pads that spun around to spin the spools of tape were too tight, and that we needed to trim them.
Oh no.
So we were in the teacher's lounge cutting rubber with a razor blade from these reels to try to get the tape recorder to work. And I ruined my mother's tape recorder doing that, only to find out that the tape recorder had dead batteries in it.
Oh, oh no.
My kids love that story. It was not particularly well. It did become embarrassing that we chopped up a perfectly good tape recorder because we thought it didn't come out of the factory.
Well, clearly you had to fix it.
Oh, I don't know. It's I probably have some other embarrassing moments, but then I won't be able to run for Congress.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or maybe I will be able to run.
Yeah, you never know. The juicier, the better.
Well, thanks for letting me do this, and to everyone out there, tune in again for the Reno and Aang show next week.
Yes, yes, Aang. Your drink is ready, Aang. My classic pronunciation when my drink at Starbucks is being called out.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Reno. I loved the tables being turned, and you got me with some good ones. And thankfully, you didn't ask me my saucy secret. So,
Hey, this isn't over yet.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. I didn't ask it. I'm asking it now.
Yeah. Well, I don't believe I've ever shared this one.
Okay.
I have shared it with very few people in my life, and now it will be more than the few.
Does
So,
it have anything to do with doo-doo?
no.
Mentioned that earlier.
Thankfully, no, but it's in the same family. bathroom stuff.
Okay.
So my lovely self decided I was going to hike the Grand Canyon and went with a group of people. And you know, for those women listening, you could probably relate that the period likes to come on its own time, and especially when you're traveling. You know, you can't leave home without that on any vacation. So, of course, that morning, my little friend shows up, and I unfortunately only had one lovely tampon available. And you know, day one, the hope is it's light and no biggie deal, but it wasn't. And about mile 7, which is about probably, you know, at the 6-hour mark, 7-hour mark of the hike, it wasn't working anymore. So I didn't know what to do, and in my survivor mode, I decide, well, I don't know that like, imagine a sponge and it's just dripping, so the best thing is to just get rid of the sponge. Yeah. So I called to my husband to just check surroundings, making sure no one is coming up or down the hike that we were at, and I removed it and then flung it. I can't even say this without laughing. I flung it off of the side of the hike. And I just prayed there was no one below us.
There were some travelers from London who said, "It's bloody raining."
And yeah, so problem solved. Problem solved, and I was fine.
Well, now I think you're definitely right for Survivor.
I know. Yeah, so my social skills, my survival skills, I outwit, outplay, outlast. So
Yeah.
that's the goal here. But that's it. So
right.
there's my saucy secret. Thanks for tuning in. And Reno, it's been great.
Bye, everyone.